Alright, so I wanted to do another little reaction video. I already responded to it on TikTok, but YouTube gives me a better opportunity to yap as much as I like, and you guys know I like to yap, so let's just get into it. I also think it's an important topic to talk about in regards to deconstruction.
Girls, if your guy just keeps growing, girls, can you please tell me why some girls don't want to be stay-at-home moms? And yes, I understand using your degree for a little bit and like wanting to actually pursue something you're passionate about, but being a stay-at-home mom where you can like make food, take care of your kids, take care of your husband, hold Bible studies, do Pilates, I don't freaking know, do whatever you want the whole day while getting provided for, why would you not want that?
So, first of all, I said this on TikTok, but if it's so great, if it's such a great role to play, why don't they want to play it? Some of them might say it's because the Bible doesn't want it that way, or some of them will say it makes me feel emasculated. But let's be real, I'm sure a lot of them also don't want to give up their goals and dreams, right? They want to feel empowerment. They want to feel accomplished in different ways, and that doesn't include staying home, cleaning, cooking, and taking care of the children. One of the biggest lies I think religion tells people is that because you're born with specific sex organs, you need to do X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z will make you happy. X, Y, and Z will fulfill you just because, simply because you are born with specific sex organs. That lacks nuance. It lacks critical thinking. It lacks all of these things that require actually looking at individuals and individuality and stuff like this. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard from Christian women that submitting to your husband is actually freedom. Submitting to your husband is actually freedom. No, it isn't. I feel the same way when people tell me that believing in the Christian God is freedom, because they're telling me it's freeing to believe that if I don't follow what this God wants me to follow, I'm going to burn in hell forever. What part of that feels like freedom? It doesn't feel like freedom to me. That doesn't feel like freedom to me either. But the way they talk about it, submitting to your husband, a lot of times growing up evangelical, it's this thing where your husband gets the final say in basically important decisions, or maybe any decision at all. You've essentially become an extension of your husband, an extension of this person. I think that has always been an issue for me because, well, number one, I'll be honest, I've always been a stubborn woman, if that's what you want to call it. I've always had very much my own thoughts, my own opinions, stuff like that. But second, individuality to me is very important. I always want to be my own person. I want people to always view me as my own person, if you know what I mean. And with the Christian evangelical worldview, that's not really how it is. You become like an extension of your husband because at the end of the day, he's making the rules, he's making the final decisions. You lose a lot of autonomy, a lot of freedom to pick and choose your life for your own. And that's why calling it freedom doesn't make any sense. And maybe this comes more naturally for some. It never came naturally for me. That's how I know it doesn't make sense to say, you were born with these sex organs, therefore, this is what you need to do. Well, that doesn't come natural to me, so what does that say? I also find it really patronizing in this video when he says, go to Pilates, have a little Bible study or whatever. That sounds very patronizing to me, personally. And my other thing is, for a lot of Christian men who don't want to do this and feel like it emasculates them, why exactly does it emasculate you? Do you feel like it's not real work? Do you feel like it's not hard work? I also find it interesting that men are seen as the providers, right? But in these situations, they're bringing in the money, but the woman is providing all of the labor, all of the emotional labor. She's raising kids, she's cooking, she's cleaning, no breaks, no days off. Is that really just the man being the provider? That doesn't make sense to me in any kind of way. On top of that, a lot of women are told in the evangelical spaces that your duty is to have kids. That's what every woman wants. That's what brings every woman fulfillment. And again, that lacks nuance. It lacks logical thinking. It lacks the acknowledgement that individuals are individuals. I remember at some point in my life, it had to have been when I was like a tween, maybe early teenager, kind of sweating and being like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, it's in my head. It was never like, yay, I can't wait to, first of all, I was never a big, like, I can't wait to get married person. And I was never a, I can't wait to have kids person either. Now, I am married, but it looks way different than what I was told it was supposed to be. But still, my goal was never to get married and have kids. Like, I got eloped. I didn't even have a wedding. I just felt very different than a lot of the women that were around me. And I also felt very different because I didn't feel like I was who they told me I was supposed to be, how God made me. But I'm like, but it's like God didn't make me that way. That's not how I feel God made me. I'm not resonating with literally any of that. And I know deep down, I think I've always known this, if I lived the exact life they told me I should go live, I would be miserable. That would be my own personal hell. And I know that. But let's watch the rest of his video.
Fellas, if you're still here, why would you not want your wife to be a stay-at-home mom if you could provide for them? I mean, you're telling me I can come home from work and she's got food ready and she's not stressed because she doesn't have work. I pull up in my truck and she comes running out, jumping into my arms, so excited to see me. She had a Bible study and hosted people in our house earlier in the day, and our kids get to hear about Jesus all day because she can raise them. Oh my goodness, it's the dream.
I bet it is the dream for you and a lot of men who are put in these positions. Number one, I want to say, obviously, it's hard for this to even happen considering our economy, and a lot of people can't afford to have a stay-at-home parent in general. But ignoring all of that, it is very, very telling to me that he says in the second part of this video that you'll come home, the wife will have dinner made for you after work, and she will not be stressed out because she didn't have work. All while talking about his wife cooking, cleaning, and raising their children. He doesn't see that as work. So, and that's why people call it invisible labor, is because they don't get recognition for it. Me personally, I think raising kids has to be one of the hardest jobs on the planet. Has to be. You don't get breaks. You don't get days off. It's a 24/7 job. You don't get paid. You don't get any kind of raise or like a boss telling you you're doing so great. On top of that, the main person you're doing this for so that they can go out and live their dreams and have a career or whatever it might be, taking the backseat so they can do what they want to do, they don't even recognize that as labor. They don't even see it as you doing labor or work. I know because I've heard this from so many women, that is extremely hurtful and demoralizing. And for a lot of people, that's why they become resentful, because they're like, why am I putting in all of this work, all of this labor, when you don't even view it as labor? But you get to go to work, you get to clock out on breaks, you get to come home and then relax, and my job's still going. I'm still cleaning up after you, I'm still putting the kids to bed, I'm still, whatever it is. It's crazy to me. And again, that's why they call this invisible labor. And him saying that she won't be stressed because she doesn't have work, that tells me everything that I need to know. On top of that, a lot of these people want like 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and they still don't see that as work, as labor. That is insane to me. That is insane. Obviously, there are women out there who they want to have kids, they want to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm not saying that that is bad and you shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's not what I'm saying. But I do want to add on top of this that it is a very risky game to become completely financially dependent on somebody for years, where you have years and years of not bringing in your own income. I think that's a very risky business. Now, am I saying that never works out for anybody? No, that's not what I'm saying. Obviously, it has worked out for people in the past, but there's a lot of times I see it not work out, and that horrifies me for a lot of women. It really does. It scares me for them, because I've heard terrible situations where, you know, they live this life for years and then they end up getting divorced, and the wife is left for nothing because left with nothing because she spent all of these years taking care of their kids. And now the husband doesn't think he owes her any money because it's his income. It's his money. That can leave a lot of people high and dry. I know people who have become homeless because of this. Or their husband cheats and they can't stay, and now they don't have any way to survive. That's really risky and really scary to me. And I think it's because I've seen stuff like this. Again, not saying it's never worked, not saying this can't work out for anybody, but I do think it comes with risks. And I don't think enough people take that into consideration when talking about these kind of lifestyles, that these marriages aren't guaranteed, these relationships aren't guaranteed. But I think maybe a reason, now that I'm thinking about it, I think maybe a reason they ignore this is because they don't believe in divorce, so they just assume nothing will ever happen and they will be together forever. But we know that's not reality a lot of times, even if you don't plan for that, even if you don't want that to happen. So, yeah, I'm really interested to know how you guys feel about this, what your experience was, whether you're, no matter what gender you are or identify as. I want to know what's your experience with this, how you felt growing up, or what narratives you were told and how you feel about it now. This is like a big topic for me for a lot of reasons, because this is something I struggled with a lot and felt so different over. Like, I felt so different than so many people around me. And I never resonated with it. Like, even as a Christian, it just never felt right to me. And I think I think one of the reasons is a personality thing, but I'm sure it's multiple things. So yeah, let me know how you guys feel, and I will see you in the next one.